Hey, it's Vicky, and today I'm here to talk about the books that I want to read in March. And March is one of my favorite months of the year, firstly because it is my birthday month, and also because it is middle grade March. And I do enjoy reading middle grade books throughout the year, but in March in particular, I try to make sure that I read a couple during the month. So I'm not fully taking part in middle grade March like I normally do because of school and everything else. I just don't have the time really to focus on reading that much. But I figured, and the hosts of Middle Grade March also say this, that as long as you read one middle grade book, you have participated in middle grade March. So I have 2 middle grade books on my TBR this month, and then a couple others that I'm also interested in reading. So let's dive in. So speaking of middle grade books, let's talk about the 2 middle grade books that I want to read in March. The first one is called Gregor the Overlander, and this is by Suzanne Collins. I'm going to be reading this on my Kindle. It's the first book in a series. I'm not sure how many books are in the series exactly, but I bought this book forever ago. I want to say it's probably been on my Kindle for 10 years. Because I bought it shortly after reading the Hunger Games trilogy, which Suzanne Collins wrote, and I really enjoyed. And so when I saw she had this other series, I thought I would check it out, and I just haven't. So this one is about a young boy named Gregor who lives in New York City, and he stumbles upon this whole like sort of underworld beneath the city. I think he like falls down a laundry chute or something in his apartment building, and it takes him to this underworld. And he meets all these different creatures, I'm assuming, and things like that. And that just sounds really awesome. Just that sort of, what do they call that? So that sort of like portal fantasy kind of thing. Or like the whole idea that there's this other world literally right below us in this case that we just don't know about, and things like that. That's always very intriguing, very interesting to me. So I think this will be a fun book. And who knows, if I really like it, maybe I'll read more books in the series. The other middle grade I'm planning to read is a middle grade, I think it's considered fantasy, maybe dark fantasy. And it is called The Thief of Always by Clive Barker. And I picked this one up because I have read Clive Barker's The Hellbound Heart, which I loved, and I gave 5 stars to. That book for sure is for adults. This one though is geared towards younger readers, and I've heard that his stuff that he writes for, you know, younger readers is actually really, really awesome as well. And so this one, I thought I would check it out. It also deals with a young boy who, there's this house that is called the Mr. Hood's Holiday House, and it's this place that children are very drawn to, and the man who runs things, Mr. Hood, is seemingly a good guy. And I'm guessing that our main character stumbles across this house, and it's magical, obviously, it's why this is a fantasy book. But anyways, our main character, I'm assuming, stumbles across this house, and he sort of uncovers that Mr. Hood might not be as nice as everybody makes him out to be. So this sounds really fun. I like it. If I'm gonna do fantasy, I like it to be sort of a dark fantasy like this one. So I hope I enjoy it. All right, so now getting out of the middle grade stuff and back to just the adult stuff for March, I want to read All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda. I had put this on my February TBR, and I just didn't get to it. Mostly because I had a bunch of other books that I had put on hold at the library that came up, and I wanted to read those right away. So this one kind of got pushed off to the side for the month. So I do still want to read this. This was a book I chose for my, my book haul revisit series. So I'm going to be reading this one. It is about a woman who, 10 years in the past, she had a friend that went missing. They were never, she was never found or anything. And our main character leaves town and then comes back, I think because she has an ailing relative that she's coming to take care of or something like that. And while she's there, obviously it brings up a lot of feelings and memories about her friend who went missing. And then another teenage girl goes missing, and the circumstances under this girl's disappearance are very similar to her friend's. And so I'm assuming she's gonna kind of play detective and try to figure out what happened to this girl and maybe kind of find out what happened to her friend all those years ago. So this sounds good. This is again, Megan Miranda's an author I have been wanting to try. So I hope I like it. Next we have a book that's going to help me with one of my goals for 2024. It's my Stephen King goal to read 5 new to me Stephen King books. And I've been trying to read his books in order, like chronologically, from the way they were published. Other than the Richard Bachman books, I'm waiting to read all of those until I've read all of the Stephen King books. So I have skipped over the Bachman books. And when I was looking through my list for the ones coming up that I have to read, I realized that I missed one. I should have probably read this book last year if I'm going chronologically, but I missed it. It's his nonfiction book called On Writing. And it's just about a memoir about his writing career and how he approaches the process and all of that. And that is very interesting to me because those sorts of stories or books or anything where people, artists of any kind, creatives of any kind, talk about their process and how they do it. I just find that very interesting. And so I'm excited about this one. I think it's gonna be really good. I've heard really good things about this too, that a lot of people, even if you're not like a Stephen King fan necessarily, if you're at all interested in the writing process, that this is a great book to read. So I'm excited to check it out. And then the last book that I'm gonna be reading for March is for the Buzzword Reading Challenge. And this month's buzzword is character names. So I'm taking that to mean you have to have a character's name in the title. So I'm going to be reading Violetta by Isabel Allende. Violetta is our main character. And this one is I think it's technically a historical fiction, but it's a book about this woman, Violetta, and you meet her when she's born. And she's born in 1920 during the flu epidemic that happened at that time. And it goes all the way until 2020 during the COVID epidemic. So she lives 100 years and you sort of see her lifespan and also how the world was changing in that 100 years. And to me, that's really interesting. I think that's really cool. So you're probably gonna see just a lot of different things that were happening historically between 1920 and 2020. And yeah, the sort of bookends of her life are these terrible epidemics that went through. So yes, I don't know. Does it say, this is a translated work. I don't know if it says who translated this. Let me see. Yes, it is translated by Francis Riddle from Spanish. So I have been wanting to try this author as well. And so I'm really looking forward to reading this one. All right, so those are my reading plans for March. Please let me know down below what you are planning to read. If you're taking part in middle grade March, I'd love to know what you are reading for that. Like I said, I'm excited for this month. It's like the weather starts turning. You start having those nice days like today, even though it's not March yet. It's like 55 degrees out, which I know for some people that's freezing cold, but here in Michigan, we're like, woohoo! My kids are like outside playing, riding their bikes and stuff, and the sun is shining and it's great. And that's what I love about March is you start to get days like that, and it's like you get those signs that winter is coming to an end. So yeah, I'm excited for what the month is going to bring. I am turning 40 this month, so that's exciting. And I hope it goes good. We also have Easter in March, which is interesting because usually Easter's in April, but once in a while it lands in March, and that is the case this year. So yeah, it should be a very exciting month. I hope you guys have a great one, and I will chat with you soon. Thank you so much for watching.